Hi all, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology. And today, Jupiter re-enters Aquarius July 28th. What area of your chart will be magnetizing blessings and opportunity that comes your way, and what this transit will have in store? It'll be July 28th until December 30th, 2021. And I'm so excited to dive into predictions for this transit overall, as well as for your chart, rising sign by rising sign. If you can keep in the back of your head, if you learned something of value throughout the course of this video, a like, a comment, a subscription, those little nudges go a really long way. So if you feel so inspired, I would appreciate it quite a bit. And without further ado, let's dive in. Jupiter in Aquarius 2021. Now, I, for one, am a little bit bummed about this transit because I loved Jupiter in Pisces. I'm a Pisces, so I'm a little partial to the Piscean energies, and Jupiter loves being in Pisces. When Jupiter retrogrades back into Aquarius, if we follow traditional rulership, Jupiter is now answering to Saturn. Saturn is restriction. Jupiter is expansion. So whereas Jupiter in Pisces was filling us all with hot air, believing, our dreams could become a reality, and nightlife and concerts opening up, with Jupiter back into Aquarius, there might be some ramifications of this summer of euphoria or this heyday sort of energy with Jupiter in Pisces. Because now Jupiter retrogrades back into territory he's already been in, answering to Saturn, the planet of rules, responsibility, and karma. So with Jupiter in Pisces, there was no bounds. There was no limits. Pisces doesn't know that. The escapism, the euphoria, the partying, it just felt expansive and abundant and like it wouldn't end. And then now we're sort of having to deal with the ramifications of this particular summer with Jupiter moving back into Aquarius. Jupiter is the planet of freedom and of travel, and I do feel that with Jupiter moving back into Aquarius, there might be increased regulations around travel. We might feel a little more stuck, a little bit more trapped. I've been saying this since, I talked about the 2021 astrology. It's almost this energy where, Jupiter in Pisces is all like a little party never hurt nobody. And then with Jupiter in Aquarius, it's like, actually it kind of did. And for the benefit of the collective, we might need to sacrifice certain elements of our freedom. Now, this is not what I want to happen. I'm just letting you know what I think of when I look at this particular influence. Some more positive manifestations of Jupiter re-entering Aquarius is that we could find a significant boom around collective humanitarian social issues, especially since Jupiter re-enters Aquarius and quickly faces off with Mars in Leo. And this does sort of speak to this reignition of past issues and past anger and frustrations being brought to the surface. And with Jupiter in Aquarius, this is an influence where we feel very expanded by taking actions in terms of the collective, for standing up for our particular beliefs. This is a huge theme of Saturn and Aquarius right now too. It's around, you can believe in something and hold something to the collective, but we're being asked to put actions behind it. And with the planet of expansion in Aquarius answering to that Saturn in Aquarius, we might find that there's a lot more social activity, there's a lot more, protests, there's a lot more debates, and there's a lot more dialogue and discussion around humanitarian social issues. Feeling more expanded by thinking what's going to benefit us all collectively. There could be significant expansions in terms of technical developments, scientific developments with Jupiter and Aquarius, but there definitely is a limit to the heyday and the euphoria. And I personally like heydays and euphoria, so I'm not particularly looking forward to this transit, but of course, with Jupiter and Aquarius, anything that benefits the humanity and truly, up-leveling us to the next level is beneficial. Outer collective themes are a expansion in terms of social issues, some restrictions around our freedom, around our travel, as well as an expansion in interest in political matters, social matters, humanitarian matters. There could be a boom in terms of technological developments, in terms of scientific developments, or more information coming out about previous developments in these areas as Jupiter is retrograde. And that's important to keep in mind for your chart as well, that Jupiter's retrograde. So I want you to mentally think back to March 26th to May 13th, 2021. What was occurring in your life at that time? What opportunities were come up? What were you inspired by? What was coming to the surface? Because Jupiter is retrograding back into those degrees, i.e. 22 degrees Aquarius to 29 degrees Aquarius. So as I speak about the blessings and the opportunities that are coming your way, because even though Jupiter is not inherently beneficial in Aquarius, it doesn't mean that we won't, get blessings in that domain of our chart, which I'll break down sign by sign. But it could be a returning of an opportunity that came your way, or returning of some inspiration that came your way, something of like coming from the past, right? Because it's retrograding back over the degrees, which is why I'm sort of emphasizing this energy around having to go backwards in order to go forwards once more. With Jupiter entering Pisces, things could have gotten out of control, whether it was within our life or collectively, and there's almost this energy about having to go a little bit in the past in order to go forward. Jupiter will be retrograde through October, and then it will re-enter Pisces again December 30th, 2021, just in time for New Year's Eve, a shimmery, sparkly occasion. So what will the latter half of 2021 have in store for you in your chart? I'm going to take it rising sign by rising sign. Now, for the purpose of these readings, I will be referencing whole sign houses. If you use Placidus, which I do as well, you'll want to check the degrees of each house. So for example, let's say you're an Aries rising, but for you, 22 degrees to 29 degrees Aquarius actually falls in your 12th house. You'll want to listen to the Jupiter in 12th house reading, even if it's not necessarily your rising sign, to describe it. If you use whole sign, you can just find your rising sign and that's what it'll be. Placidus, it's what I utilize. It makes it a little bit more complicated, but you'll just want to pay attention to where in your chart you have 22 degrees Aquarius to 29 degrees Aquarius. So Aries risings, we'll start with you. Aries Sun or Rising, or Jupiter re-entering 11th house. So my friends, for you, there could be a return back to some hopes and dreams that you had been working towards the beginning of 2021. You could have, the lockdown could have shapen some things within your mind of really broader goals that you have for yourself, as well as collective ideals that you want to build throughout your life. So there could be a return to those, like being like, hey, it really was important for me to work for a company that, is POC led or is environmentally sustainable. With Jupiter in Aquarius, there's an expansion of our humanitarian ideals, and with Saturn also there to live by that, to take action towards that. So with Jupiter re-entering this section of your chart, you could find that you are, looking at your hopes and dreams and really asking yourself, is this truly what I believe in? Not just for myself, but for all of us collectively. Does this really inspire me for the future? Other themes, this is the area of colleagues, of friendships. So you could find during this influence that you are sort of taking a more mindful approach around your friendships, being like, okay, did these people genuinely inspire me? Do they genuinely inspire what I want, this world to be? Because it's so dramatic to say, but truly our friendship groups are a microcosm of our broader goals. Like, you are who you surround yourself with. So with this retrograde influence, it could be this energy around looking to your friend group and being like, okay, do these people really inspire me? And if you were making significant efforts towards the beginning of 2021 to make friends, to expand your social network, you could find that desire reignite within you. Jupiter is where there's blessings in our charts. You could find you reconnect with an old colleague or coworker during this time that really supports you on your journey forward. You could be rethinking your career goals. You could be rethinking your humanitarian goals. You could be rethinking your friend group. And I really want you to, yes, put yourself out there, but also take that mindful approach towards it, of really being sure that what you are building really reflects your inner values. They always say it doesn't matter how fast you can get up the ladder if it is placed to the wrong wall. So it doesn't matter how quickly you can achieve your goals, because I know typically this house placement will be Aries risings. I know you all are pretty quick to want to scamper up and, get what you want, but this is a sort of reflective time of being like, okay, does this really align with my core values? Is this really what I want to build for, my future descendants, for my other, humans on this planet? 11th house is also charity organizations, things of the like. So maybe earlier this year you were donating your time to an elderly folks home or an environmental org, whatever you are passionate about. With Jupiter re-entering Aquarius, you can find that those desires re-spark within you. You can find you're feeling more inclined to want to reach out to old friends, and you could find that you're honestly inspired by the people that you reconnect with at this time, and being willing to, put yourself out there, because Jupiter is where we can be expanded by. So within the 11th house, you could reconnect with old contacts that you have that really inspire your way forward, or they can introduce you to different people. But a lot of your blessings will come through people, both, interacting with them, as well as thinking broad term about, what impacts are there humans on this planet, just making sure you're aligned with your goals moving forward. And then when Jupiter goes direct in your 11th house, you'll find there could be a quickening in terms of connecting with new colleagues, new contacts that sort of expand you moving forward. Taurus Sun or Rising, or Jupiter re-entering 10th house. So for you, you're getting this expansive feeling around career and public persona. And it could be that certain, projects from the beginning of the year, you have to kind of catch up, or maybe there's certain discussions at that time that get brought up again. Maybe you had a talk about your promotion earlier in the year, and then this is the time that it will manifest for you. There definitely is a lot of thought going into your career and a lot of focus within it. And it's important with Aquarius to be aligned with, what you truly want to contribute to this planet. So some Taurus risings, or if you just have Jupiter, re-entering your 10th house, could be contemplating some sort of career switch, or something that, allows them to find more connection in the role that they do, that they genuinely feel like they are making the world a better place. Especially if you have an Aquarius midheaven. So you can find that on your chart, MC. If you have an Aquarius midheaven, part of your mission here is to do something that will reach a lot of people, or that will innovate, or support humanity to a broader level. So this is a time to reorient yourself to what it is that you're passionate about building. And you can find it's a genuine time of expansion in this field, but it could be an expansion of past opportunities. So, you brought up this promotion before, and then now it finally manifests, or you've wanted to do this project for a long time, and now you're finally ready, or maybe you're ready to rebrand your public offering, put yourself out there in a new way. With Jupiter retrograde, it's this energy around going backwards to go forwards. So it's almost this energy of looking at your existing branding, looking at your existing projects, looking at your existing clients, and maybe making some little tweaks. And then you'll find when Jupiter goes direct in October and then enters Pisces at the end of the year, that you are able to build in a very shrewd and intelligent way, rather than doing things just to do them. So as a Taurus rising, you know that slow and steady wins the race, right? And with Jupiter in Aquarius, it's a little bit of a slowing down in terms of our blessings, as Jupiter is answering to Saturn, and Saturn is planet of time. So there's sort of this delayed gratification, but I want you to continue to show up. I want you to really contemplate where it is that you're going and what it is that you're building. And I want you to work smart and not hard. And I want you to, burn yourself out on projects that aren't aligned, or you feel like aren't going to really make the difference that you want them to. There could be an energy around having to rework some elements with a superior, with an authority figure, with your father even. There is this emphasis upon, what is my legacy? What do people see of me? And is it something that is heart-centered? Is it something that's really going to make the world a better place? Is this the best use of my unique qualities, my unique nuances, and contributing them to a broader level? And again, expansion is coming for sure with Jupiter in the sector of your chart, but there might be a little bit of thoughtfulness that you need to exert in this area, and this delayed gratification, putting one hoof, you bulls, in front of the other, and staying focused on your big picture goals and your big picture vision. And when Jupiter goes direct in October in your 10th house, you can find an expansion in terms of how you are seen, commanding a little bit more respect, feeling a little bit more optimistic in terms of what you're building. Gemini Sun or Rising, Jupiter re-entering 9th house. Here, there is this thoughtfulness being exerted around your belief systems, around what it is that you believe. It could be you had to delay certain travel plans at the beginning of this year, and during this particular period, the end of 2021, you can find you're restructuring, you're rebooking Bali, you're dreaming about that Bali trip, or maybe some of you are contemplating getting your higher education, getting your PhD, and this is sort of the time to make sure all your documentation is in place. If you are traveling, making sure your your, your visa's all good, your passport's all up to date. There is this energy where you are getting opportunities to travel abroad or to boost your skill set or even to expand spiritually, but there could be a little bit of a delay in these sort of areas, or just a need to sort of make sure everything's airtight and all good. With spirituality in particular, you could find that you're sort of revisiting certain techniques that you were doing at the beginning of this year that might have been beneficial for your spirit. So let's say at the beginning of this year, you were meditating a lot, and then this could be the time that you reconnect with those habits that you had and find the value in them once more. This is a deeply spiritual time, and you can find that when you put yourself out there, both like spiritually or perhaps traveling wise, you're expanded quite a bit and a lot of blessings come your way. You're thinking deeply about what it is that you believe and what is it that you truly want out of life. Like maybe some of you are feeling a little disillusioned at this time. Like, all I do is work, all I do is go to school, all I do is raise my family. And with Jupiter in the 9th house, it's like, wait, what is my big picture? What do I truly want to, what do I truly believe in? What truly will expand me? And maybe you go back to an old travel plan or old spirituality or something that supported your spirituality in some way. Some individuals could be re-enrolling in, a certification program, a class to understand deeper, a new age modality that they're interested in, a spirituality that they're interested in, or just some sort of like abstract learning sort of thing that they want to dive deeper within. Then when Jupiter goes direct again in October, you can find there can be a green light in terms of those travel plans. Maybe your retreat goes through or something else. Cancer Sun or Rising, Jupiter re-entering 8th house. So here, there can be some opportunities coming your way around shared resources. So it could have been that there was a certain level of support earlier in the year that comes back your way. Maybe you were receiving, some sort of money from the government or from a spouse or something like that. And there is a boost in those particular areas. You can find that your investments take a boost. But again, with Jupiter in Aquarius, it's answering to Saturn, and Saturn is a slow and steady influence. It is the planet of restriction, so there could be some fears around the investments that you have. This is not financial advice, but I would definitely say with Jupiter re-entering this sector of your chart, there is this need for sort of moderation and delayed gratification. So definitely not the time to, drastically shift your financial plan, even if you're a little worried that there's like dips in certain areas or things of the like. There could be a little bit of a slowdown in terms of your partner's income or something of the like. But again, it's that backwards to go forwards feeling. So with Jupiter retrograding back, there could be a reorganization of you and your spouses. There could be like a reworking of you and your spouse's income, or a reallocation in terms of investments, things of the like that are going to really help you moving forward. And remember, the slowdown in terms of other people's finances, it will only be till October. And then when Jupiter goes direct, you can find, your partner's income quickens up. If there's been some sort of delay in terms of alimony or child support or a payout from a lawsuit, that quickens up as well. 8th house is also the house of death. So with Jupiter going back into this place, you could be really just interested in some deeper sort of concepts, deeper topic, things of the like. Jupiter is what we're expanded by. And you could really be contemplating deeply, what is my legacy after I pass away? That's a little morbid sometimes to think about, but with Jupiter in Aquarius, it also brings in this energy of like, what's my social legacy? What are people going to remember about me and my generation? And how can I leave a beneficial impact? That could be where a lot of your thoughts are going through. Or, maybe you're a creative and you're thinking, what sort of art of mine is going to be remembered, or am I going to be remembered? There could be some, grappling with a little bit of darker thoughts, or a little bit more, morbid or intense thoughts. But there really is this energy around what really matters in my life. What, is my legacy? When I leave, what's going to be sort of left here? There also could be, an energy around tying up, a family's affairs if someone has passed or something of the like. But there is this strength in this house, as it is where we sort of surrender. So you might find it's a very spiritual time for you. You're really reorienting yourself in terms of what truly matters to you. Leo Sun or Rising, or Jupiter re-entering the 7th house. So for you all, there is this emphasis upon relationships and partnerships ending towards going towards the end of the year. And with Jupiter re-entering this sector, you could find that there are past, business offerings or past relationships that are coming back to you at this time. Maybe at the beginning of the year, a particular, opportunity that someone was extending didn't feel super aligned, and then now they're like, we're still looking for this particular role, and you're like, sign me up. So you can find you're more inspired to put yourself out there in terms of partnerships, relationships that come in your life at this time. You can find you're reconnecting with contacts you connected with at the beginning of this year. You can find you're more optimistic. Perhaps you and your partner take a trip you guys have talked about and wanted to take, or maybe you guys had to delay it earlier. For committed Leo risings, you can find you're feeling a little bit more optimistic about the relationship. You want to travel with them. You're feeling a little bit more positive about where things are going. You're really reflecting on, what it is that you're looking for in a partnership and things of that nature. Single Leos, you could just be in the mood to put yourself out there. And 7th house is also like our one-to-one contacts in terms of clients and business partners of things of that nature. So there could be, opportunities from the past coming our way, things of that nature. I want you to look if your DC is between 22 degrees to 29 degrees Aquarius, as Jupiter will retrograde right over that point. Then it'll emphasize this energy even more so, feeling more optimistic with partnerships. You could have an abundance of them, coming in. Jupiter expands where it touches, so you could have a lot of romantic attention or a lot of people wanting to do business with you, a lot of clients, and influx of people who are interested in you, which is amazing. You're extra magnetic when it comes to the people you partner with at this time. You could find you're more successful when you partner with other people rather than doing it on your own at this time. My Virgo Sun or risings or Jupiter re-entering the 6th house. So for you all, there could be this energy around really wanting more freedom within your workday. Like you could find that, you're sick of feeling confined to a particular schedule, even though, you're a Virgo, you're very particular with these things. With Jupiter re-entering 6th house, it could be like, wow, at the beginning of this year, I was really craving a little bit more freedom, a little bit more space to just do my own thing. And during the days, because as a Virgo, you are very particular about your day-to-days and how you structure your day. And with Jupiter in the 6th house, you could find that you're craving a little bit more freedom. And these could be ideas from the past that are sort of resurfacing. You can find there's a boost in activity around your health. Maybe you were really into, your health at the beginning of this year. And at this time, you're finding that you're more inspired to want to take good care of your body. Maybe you're getting more into diets, you're getting more into supplements. You're really in the mood to take care of yourself from the inside out, and as well as set the tone. So rather than sort of bending over backwards at any sort of client's request, being able to sort of prioritize yourself and building your perfect day from the inside out. My mentor always says that, what is your perfect day? And if an opportunity that comes your way doesn't align with it, do you want to sleep till 9 a.m. and, see just a couple of clients that day and be off at 2? Wanting that talk show wouldn't be aligned, because then you would have to consistently film every day. It's sort of like allowing our micro days to speak to our macro plans. And like I said, blessings could be slow to catch up with Jupiter now entering Saturn. But Virgo risings, I want you to put in the effort daily to give yourself more freedom, to find a little bit more expansion and inspiration within your workday, and keep showing up consistently. Like I said, blessings are a little slower to catch up with Jupiter in Aquarius, but with Jupiter instinct to Saturn, our slow and consistent effort will pay off within this sector. And for you, it's around designing your perfect day. It's around the way that you show up and finding a little bit more inspiration and freedom. And it's the way that you take care of your body. Libra, Sun or Rising, or Jupiter re-entering the 5th house. So for you all, there could be some creative ideas that are bubbling up from the past. You can find if you were, trying for a baby at the beginning of the year, that desire could be reignited at this time. You could be, if that there's a lot of different ways transits can manifest. So if that's a particular, theme of what's happening with you in your life, you can find that this is a slow and steady influence for sure. But you could find that this time you're wanting to, learn from people around conception or what it would take to have children, or maybe have conversations with people on if that's what you want. For my creative Libra risings, I know that's many of you, you could find that you are wanting to reconnect with your passions, with your hobbies. Maybe when things were locked down, you got more into that area of your life and you're ready to reignite that area of yourself. be consistent, show up, you know, in those micro ways. With Jupiter re-entering Aquarius, it is answering to Saturn, the planet of time. So it might take some time for those blessings to really manifest within our world, but it's absolutely worth it. And make sure to, you know, create time to have fun, to do things that just make your spirit shine and to find a little bit more lightness within your world. Some Libra risings could be reconnecting with flings from the past. They could be feeling more flirty, more romantic, but you Libras are always feeling romantic or flirty. Scorpio Sun or Rising, or Jupiter re-entering the 4th house. So this is the sector of the chart that governs home, family, and emotional state. So you could find at this time that you are more inspired or inclined to want to renovate your home. Maybe it's a dream you've had for a long time as Jupiter is retrograde, and you're finally ready to, you know, start to make those shifts or to start to envision what you want to change. Maybe some Scorpio risings are wanting to move to, you know, go to somewhere bigger or more expansive or somewhere that makes them feel more free. Perhaps, you know, for some Scorpio risings, there could be some review around roommate situations, leasing agreements, things of that nature. Some Scorpio risings could be dealing with some family stuff at this time, but Jupiter is a more optimistic influence. So if you've been looking to, you know, harmonize with certain family members, there could be a time of sort of revisiting past beef and sort of squashing the beef in a certain way, or you can find you're just more inclined to want to spend time with family, you're more inspired by these ideas. As well as with Jupiter re-entering 4th house, there is this emphasis upon, okay, what is it that makes me happy? And with Jupiter retrograde, you know, there is a little bit of slowdown in terms of manifestations, blessings showing up in the outer world, but I want you to build your blessings from the inside out. Like, I want you to really tap into, what is it that makes me happy? What is it that I truly identify with? What is it, you know, that I'm really passionate about? And even if, you know, reality hasn't caught up, really anchoring into what it is that would make you the most happy and what are, you know, the qualities of yourself that you want to shine, and reorienting sort of the vision away from what other people want from your life back to, this is what I want, and anchoring into that. 4th house is a very private house, so it might not make sense to other people why you're letting go of certain dreams that no longer feel aligned, or certain plans that no longer feel aligned, but so long as they feel aligned with your soul and your spirit, that's truly all that matters, Scorpio rising. So this could be energy around sort of looking inward, seeing how you can support yourself emotionally the best, what really feels the most satiating to you. I want you to particularly look if your IC is between 22 to 29 degrees. So if it passes that IC, this influence will be heightened even more so. Sagittarius Sun or Rising, or Jupiter re-entering your 3rd house. So for you Sagittarius Rising, there could be a significant blessing around social media, marketing, communication, writing, things of that nature. You could be more bolstered to want to reach people with your words. You know, a lot of Sagittarius Risings are really good at social media because you have Aquarius ruling your 3rd house. 3rd house is communication. Aquarius is large audiences of people. So it might be rather seamless for you to attract the right network to you, have a lot of internet friends or things of the like. And with this Jupiter re-entering, you could find a boost, you know, in desire to want to put out your words, to write a little bit more, to connect with more individuals, to learn a little bit more. Some Sagittarius risings could be reconsidering certain classes that they want to take, certain certifications. Some Sagittarius risings could be reconsidering their messaging, their marketing strategy, their online presence, things of that nature. And again, this is slow and steady. So, you know, it might take consistently posting and showing up, and you might get like kind of frustrated because you're ruled by Jupiter. So you're pretty lucky, and when Jupiter is in a Saturn ruled sign, things take a little longer, so you might need to have delayed gratification. But I want you to lean into being consistent. You know, you also have Saturn in this sector, so slow and steady, show up, stay focused on, you know, your ideal community, your ideal, you know, network, the ideal customer maybe for some Sagittarius risings, and allowing your messaging to be the magnet for those individuals. And just boosting your own, you know, curiosity, taking that class. Maybe some of you want to get yoga certified or something else, different skill that you want to add to your skill set, Google AdWords, SEO, something of that nature, where you're just wanting to really invest in yourself and invest in your knowledge, which is really beautiful. My wise Sagittarius risings, This will likely apply to 1.5 people, but I do need to mention that third house is also neighborhoods, it's also siblings, so you could find that you are reconnecting with siblings, you're feeling more optimistic about those relationships, you're spending more time with them, or you could get more involved in your neighborhood, in your surroundings. Capricorn Sun or Risings, or Jupiter re-entering the second house. So for you all, there can be some financial opportunities from the past coming back. Maybe a promotion was thrown out or a side hustle, and then just for whatever reason, it just sort of didn't work out. There is an opportunity with this transit, those can come back. Or maybe you've had an idea of a financial opportunity that you wanted to create, and during this influence, you're like, okay, so I was thinking about this side hustle earlier in the year, but I was so busy with other projects. I want to, flesh this out. I want to make this real. I want to give it more texture and more depth. There also could be an energy around wanting to budget and invest for your financial future. You could be taking a more mindful approach, looking at your finances, looking at your investments, maybe getting yourself on a budget or something of that like. With Jupiter re-entering the second house, you could find you're a little bit more optimistic about yourself financially. You could find that you're a little bit more inclined to want to, spend beyond your means a little bit, because Jupiter expands what it touches, both money coming in and money coming out. So while you can get money from past opportunities or finally getting, caught up from past invoices of that nature, you could also find you're spending a little bit more or investing in things that you're really passionate about, which is all well and good. If there's certain purchases that you've wanted to make for a while, this can finally be the influence where you find the right product, the right couch, whatever it is that you want to invest in. You get to look at it and be reminded of your hard work. But I would say for the Capricorn Risings who are on a strict budget, be mindful with your finances at this time, because you can be a little bit more optimistic than normal at this time. My Aquarius Sun or Risings, Jupiter re-enters your first house, and I want you to really pay attention if your Aquarius Rising is between 22 to 29 Aquarius, because that means Jupiter will conjoin your ascendant once more. And with this, you could find you're a little bit more optimistic about life. You could find that you are really tapping into expansive opportunities. You're looking at the world for what it can give you, rather than feeling kind of down on yourself and down on your journey thus far. Some Aquarius Risings, Jupiter expands what it touches, so you can find you're more in the light, you're more in the mood to, want to eat lots of delicious foods, have lots of experiences. When Jupiter transits our first house, we're really in the mood to live. So that involves trying the new restaurants and making cupcakes and just feeling good about life, which is a beautiful thing, Aquarius Risings, but just something to be mindful of if you are on some sort of strict dietary restriction or something of the like. With Jupiter, it's sort of like, oh, it's all good, which is beautiful because we're more lucky. We can magnetize more opportunities our way. Maybe there's something you've wanted for a while and then you finally get it towards the end of this year. Truly, when Jupiter's transiting our first house, anything is possible because first house is self, it's body, it's perspective. So you could just find with Jupiter in the first house, you're feeling more optimistic. You're remembering who you are and what you want to contribute to this planet, which is a beautiful thing. My Pisces Sun or Risings, for you all, my Pisces Sun, Risings, or Jupiter re-entering your 12th house. It is entering the hidden house. You could find you're a little bit more comfortable in your solitude. You're kind of in the mood to withdraw from the world, and that's okay. It's important for Pisces to do every so often. With this influence, you could find that you're really expanded by your dream world. You're having a lot of fascinating dreams. Maybe you're having a significant spiritual boost. You could be more altruistic, wanting to give your time and your energy to the causes that you hold dear. And you could just find that you're a little bit more drained being in the presence of other people. Maybe you need to be a little bit more distant from your communities, still connected with them, but just making sure you're taking care of your own self-care, your own world. Some Pisces could be really diving into their own spiritual beliefs, things of that nature at this time. Friends, what do you think? Comment below. Are you excited for this transit? Are you not that excited for the transit? I would love to know. Any Pisces a little sad Jupiter is leaving Pisces? Not to worry, it will continue when Jupiter re-enters December 30th, 2021. Comment below what you thought. My Instagram handle is @HaleyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.